1953. A bathroom, a white enamel basin, steam rising off the water. The sharp sting of vinegar and the feel of something sheer sliding through a woman's fingers. She looked flawless every single day and spent almost nothing to do it, because she knew things that were deliberately buried to sell her replacements. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what those rituals were. The ritual was common across many American households. Fill a basin with lukewarm water, never hot. Add 1 capful of ivory snow soap flakes or 1 tablespoon of plain white vinegar. Submerge the stockings completely. Press them between the palms, squeezing gently and releasing, never wringing, never twisting, never rubbing the fabric against itself. Rinse once in cool, clean water. Lay the stockings flat inside a clean cotton towel. Roll the towel from one end to the other to press out the moisture, then hang them over the shower rod or a wooden drying rack overnight. The entire process took 4 minutes. Today, the average American woman spends between $100 and $150 per year on hosiery that is engineered to be disposable. A single pair of high-quality tights from a department store runs $12 to $18 and rarely survives more than 3 wearings. That is not an accident. The hosiery industry shifted to seamless stockings and pantyhose in the mid-20th century as manufacturing processes evolved and consumer fashions changed toward shorter hemlines. Care instructions were widely distributed by both manufacturers and home economics programs to help consumers extend the life of delicate nylon hosiery. A woman standing in a CVS today holding a 3-pack of pantyhose for $9 is paying more per wearing than her grandmother paid per month. The ritual was not lost. It was made unnecessary on purpose. But the hand-washing ritual is not the most buried thing in this video. What comes next was not just forgotten. It was actively removed. A vanity with a 3-panel mirror and a row of amber glass bottles lined up smallest to tallest. A bathroom with a white porcelain sink, a fresh towel folded over the edge of the tub, and a bar of ivory soap in a ceramic dish. A kitchen table cleared after supper with a shallow basin of warm water and a lemon cut in half sitting on a saucer. Every one of these rooms was a station. Every station had a ritual, a time of day, and a set of tools that cost almost nothing and never needed replacing. A woman in 1954 did not buy beauty. She practiced it. Hands on Monday evening, hair on Saturday morning, posture every waking hour, teeth before bed. And the last ritual happened after the lights went out, when she arranged herself for sleep with the same care she gave to everything else. The system was complete. It covered every surface of her appearance, from her fingertips to the pillowcase under her cheek, and every single part of it was replaced by a product that cost more and worked no better. What you are about to see is the full architecture recovered from the women who built it.
Number 14. Women rubbed a thin coat of Crisco vegetable shortening or lard into their hands every night before bed. Some wore cotton gloves over it while they slept. Crisco in the blue and white tin, a fingertip's worth, warmed between the palms, worked into every knuckle, around the cuticles, across the backs of the hands where the skin dried out first. The faintly sweet, neutral smell that was nothing like perfume and everything like the kitchen. Old white cotton gloves pulled on over the grease, sometimes a pair of her husband's worn-out dress gloves. By morning, the skin had drunk every bit of it, hands smooth as cream. Crisco cost about 30 cents for a 1-pound tin in 1953, the same tin she used for pie crust and for seasoning the cast iron skillet. She used the same ingredient to feed her family and to care for her hands, and saw no contradiction in that. The hand cream aisle did not exist yet because it did not need to. But soft hands meant nothing if the nails were ragged, and the tool she reached for was not sitting in a drugstore. It was already in her sewing basket. Number 13. Women filed their nails in one direction only, never back and forth. A simple emery board from the 5 and dime and one firm rule that prevented splitting and peeling. A thin emery board from Woolworth's and nickel. The soft scraping sound, always pulling in the same direction, base to tip. The fine dust on the vanity top. She shaped each nail into a gentle oval, never pointed, never squared off. The shape of a lady's nail, her mother told her. Filing took 2 minutes. The nails never split because no one was sawing them apart. The One Direction rule was not printed in any magazine. It passed hand to hand, mother to daughter, at the kitchen table. The beauty industry now sells nail repair serums for $12 a bottle. The damage they repair is caused by the very sawing motion the old rule prevented. Filing was only the beginning. What she did next with a single wooden stick would replace half the products in a modern nail salon. Number 12. Women push back their cuticles weekly using a wooden orange stick, a pointed birchwood stick about 4 inches long. They never cut the cuticles. Cutting was considered dangerous and unnecessary. A pack of orange sticks from the drugstore counter, 10 cents for a dozen. She soaked her fingertips in warm, soapy water for 5 minutes. Ivory soap flakes dissolved in a teacup. Then she wrapped a scrap of cotton around the tip of the stick, dipped it in olive oil from the kitchen, and gently pushed each cuticle back in a slow half-moon motion. The quiet scrape of wood on nail, one finger at a time. She never used a blade. She never used scissors. Dermatologists today say that cutting cuticles increases the risk of infection. The old method, pushing gently and never cutting, is exactly what the medical profession now recommends. She was not behind. She was 70 years ahead. With the cuticles pushed back and the nails shaped, the next question was shine. And the answer did not come from a bottle of polish. It came from a small tin of something that has almost completely disappeared. Number 11. Women buffed their bare nails to a natural pink shine using a chamois leather buffer and a dab of buffing paste. No polish required. The glow came from inside the nail itself. A chamois buffer, a small flat pad covered in soft leather. Revlon sold buffing powder, so did Q-Tex, 10 cents a tin, a tiny amount rubbed onto each bare nail, then buffed in long, quick strokes until the nail turned warm under the friction. A glow rose from inside the nail. Pink and alive, not lacquered on top, lit from beneath. The sound of leather on keratin, quick and rhythmic. The shine lasted days. It could not chip, it could not peel, it could not smudge. It was not sitting on the nail, it was the nail. Nobody could sell a replacement for something that was already there. The shine came from the buffer, but the strength came from the kitchen, and the recipe sounds stranger than anything on a salon menu today. Number 10. Women dissolved unflavored Knox gelatin in warm water and soaked their fingernails in it once a week. Some also drank a small glass of dissolved gelatin every morning to strengthen nails from the inside out. Knox unflavored gelatin in the red box, 1 packet dissolved in a cup of warm water. Fingertips submerged for 10 to 15 minutes while she read the newspaper or listened to the radio. The protein coated and penetrated the nail plate. Nails that had been peeling and splitting thickened within 2 weeks. Some women drank a half packet in warm water each morning. The faint animal smell, the slightly thick texture on the tongue. A packet cost a few pennies. Knox gelatin is still on the grocery shelf today. The same red box, the same formula, the nail strengthening treatment sold in salons now contain the exact same protein. They cost $15 a bottle. They just do not tell you where the idea came from. But gelatin handled the nails. What about the skin around them? A woman who washed dishes 3 times a day in scalding water had hands that told the whole story. She had a remedy for that too, and it sat right next to the sugar bowl. Number 9. Women mixed glycerin with rose water and rubbed it into their hands every day. It was the most common homemade hand treatment in mid-century America. A small bottle of glycerin from the pharmacy, 15 cents. A bottle of rose water, 20 cents. Mixed in equal parts in a glass bottle kept by the kitchen sink, The faint scent of roses, clean and old-fashioned, not syrupy, rubbed into the hands after washing dishes or hanging laundry on the line. Glycerin draws moisture from the air directly into the skin. Hands that had been in scalding soapy water an hour earlier felt like silk by supper time. Every drugstore in America carried both ingredients. Some pharmacists mixed it for you right at the counter and charged a dime. Glycerin and rose water, 2 ingredients. You can still buy both today. But almost nobody does because nobody told their daughter, and the shelf space went to something in a plastic tube with a brand name on the label. 5 items in, and not a single one required a trip to a specialty store. Shortening, an emery board, a wooden stick, buffing paste, gelatin, rose water. Every ingredient came from the kitchen or the corner pharmacy. The vanity table was not a woman's laboratory. The kitchen was. And the kitchen did not charge $35 for a manicure. The hands were soft, the nails were strong, but there was one weekly practice that took care of both at the same time. At the kitchen sink. Number 8. Once a week, women warmed olive oil or sweet almond oil in a small saucepan and soaked their fingertips in it for 10 to 15 minutes. It softened cuticles, strengthened nails, and conditioned the skin all in one step. A small saucepan on low heat, olive oil from the pantry or sweet almond oil from the drugstore at 20 cents a bottle, warmed just enough to feel pleasant against the skin, poured into a shallow bowl, all 10 fingertips submerged, the warmth soaking in, the oil seeping under the cuticle and into the nail bed. 15 minutes of nothing but warm oil and quiet, nails that practically glowed for 3 days afterward. A salon hot oil manicure now costs $35. She did it with a saucepan and a nickel's worth of oil. The treatment is identical. The price is not. The oil soak handled the nails, but what about a woman whose hands were rough and red from scrubbing floors and wringing laundry by hand? She had a weekly treatment for that too, and the main ingredient was sitting in the pantry right next to the flour. Number 7. Women made a paste of dry oatmeal and warm water and scrubbed their hands with it to remove rough, dead skin. A gentle exfoliant done weekly, nothing else required. Quaker oats from the round cardboard canister, a handful ground between the palms. Mixed with warm water or milk to make a thick paste. Rubbed over the backs of the hands, the knuckles, the fingertips where the skin cracked first. The slight grit of the oats lifting away the dead layer, rinsed in warm water. The hands left behind felt new, not raw, not stripped, just clean down to the fresh skin underneath. The faint smell of oats and warm milk in the kitchen. The exfoliating hand scrub is now a $15 product in a designer jar. The ingredient list often starts with colloidal oatmeal. She skipped the jar and went straight to the canister. Number 6. Some women wore rubber gloves religiously during dishwashing. Others could not stand them and washed barehanded. Both types had a system. Playtex living gloves, introduced in 1954. Pink rubber with a cotton flock lining, 79 cents a pair. Some women wore them for every sink load, every bleach job. Others hated the feel. The lost grip, the sweat building inside. Those women washed barehanded and then doubled their nightly Crisco treatment. They rubbed a cut lemon half over their hands to counteract the harshness of the soap. Glove women and bare hand women both had their reasons. She was never careless about her hands. She made a choice and she handled what came with it. Number 5. Women rubbed a cut lemon half over their fingernails to bleach away stains and yellowing. Some soaked their nails in a dish of straight lemon juice for 5 minutes. A lemon cut in half on the kitchen counter, each nail pressed into the flesh and twisted slowly. The citric acid dissolving the daily residue of a life lived with the hands. Nicotine stains, beet juice, newspaper ink, the stain from peeling walnuts in October, the sharp, clean smell of lemon filling the kitchen, nails that looked white and bright within minutes. Some women added a pinch of Arm & Hammer baking soda to make a paste and scrubbed it over the nail with an old toothbrush. The gentle fizz. 5 cents worth of lemon and a box of baking soda that already lived under the sink. The nail whitening pen sold in drugstores today contains citric acid as its active ingredient. It costs $8. The lemon knew first. Here is something worth saying plainly. Every one of these rituals required a woman to stop, to sit down with her hands in warm oil, to stand at the sink rubbing lemon into her fingernails, to spend 10 quiet minutes with a chamois buffer and a tin of paste. These were not shortcuts. They were the opposite of shortcuts. They were the only minutes in the day that belonged entirely to her. These were rest stops hidden inside a routine. That was not a flaw. That was the whole point. The daily maintenance kept her hands presentable, but there was one thing in her vanity drawer that could make them look finished in under 10 minutes. And it came in a small glass bottle that no woman born after 1970 would recognize. Number 4, women applied nail polish in a precise 2-coat system, 1 thin base coat and 1 thin coat of color. The polish lasted because she applied it thin and let each layer dry fully. Revlon nail enamel in a small glass bottle with a brass cap. Q-Tex in fire engine red, 40 cents. She wiped the brush against the neck of the bottle until nearly dry. 1 thin stroke down the center of the nail, 1 stroke on each side, 3 strokes total. A pale half moon left unpainted at the base of each nail, the signature look of the era. She blew on her nails or waved her hands slowly in the air. 10 minutes of sitting completely still. No ultraviolet lamp, no quick dry spray. The sharp acetone smell filling the bathroom. 3 strokes per nail, 1 coat, no rushing. The entire manicure took less time than the drive to a modern nail salon. And it lasted a full week because thin layers dry and thick layers crack. That is not a beauty tip, that is physics. Polish made the nails look finished, but the hands themselves needed their own kind of attention, and the most effective treatment she used was something she mixed from 2 ingredients already in her kitchen. Number 3, women mixed raw honey with a beaten egg yolk and rubbed it over their hands as a mask. Left it on for 15 to 20 minutes, rinsed with warm water, done. 1 egg yolk from the icebox, a tablespoon of honey from the jar on the shelf, stirred together in a teacup until the mixture turned thick and golden, smoothed over the backs of both hands, between the fingers, across every knuckle. The slow tack of the honey against the skin. She sat with her hands open on her lap, palms up, doing nothing for 15 minutes. The yolk conditioned the skin while the honey sealed in moisture and soothed the small cracks from a week of harsh soap. Rinsed away with warm water, hands that felt 10 years younger than the woman they belonged to, an egg and a spoonful of honey, a few cents at most. The same combination now appears in hand masks that sell for $25 a jar. The chemistry is identical. The packaging is the only thing that changed. Number 2, every night women massaged cold cream into their hands. Not just a quick dab and rub, a real massage. Knuckle by knuckle, joint by joint, the last act of the day before the light went out. Pond's cold cream in the glass jar with the green lid. 35 cents. A generous scoop worked first into one hand, then the other. She massaged each finger individually, pulling gently from base to tip. She pressed her thumb into the center of her palm and worked in slow circles. The thick, cool weight of the cream, the clean, faintly floral scent of Pond's. 2 full minutes per hand. The hands that had spent the entire day wringing mops and peeling potatoes and scrubbing the bathtub, receiving 4 minutes of deliberate, unhurried attention. It was not about the cream. Any cream would have worked. It was about the 4 minutes. A woman alone in the quiet house after the children were in bed, holding her own hands, pressing the ache out of her own joints. The last kindness of the day, given to herself by herself. And when morning came and she had done all of this, the filing and the buffing and the soaking and the creaming, There was one final thing, one thing that brought the whole week together. Not a product, not a treatment, something she pulled from the top drawer of her dresser before she walked out the front door. Number 1. Women kept a pair of clean white cotton gloves for wearing to church, to town, to any public occasion where hands would be seen. The gloves were not fashion. They were the final presentation of hands that had been cared for all week long. White cotton gloves from the notions counter at J.C. or Sears, $1.29 a pair, washed by hand in ivory flakes and dried flat on a clean towel, pulled on one finger at a time on Sunday morning, the seams straight, the cotton smooth against skin that had been soaked in oil, scrubbed with oatmeal, rubbed with lemon, buffed with chamois, and creamed with Pond's every night for 7 days. The soft snap of the glove at the wrist, the way she held her hymnal, her pocketbook, her daughter's hand on the church steps, all in white cotton, all perfectly clean. The gloves said nothing and everything at the same time. They said these hands scrubbed the floors, wrung the laundry, peeled the potatoes, and washed the dishes 3 times a day. And then these hands were cared for, repaired, made ready to meet the world. The gloves were not covering her hands. They were honoring them. Every callus underneath had been earned. Every soft inch of skin had been tended. The gloves were the final word at the end of a week written in labor and in care. These women's hands were not pampered. They were respected. There is a difference. And the women who owned those hands knew exactly what it was.
Those hands did everything: cooked, cleaned, held children, folded laundry, and still looked like they belonged on a magazine cover every Sunday morning. But the most patient ritual in this system was not the one she practiced at the kitchen table. It was the one she practiced once a week behind a locked bathroom door, with a basin and a brush and a knowledge about hair that an entire industry spent decades trying to erase.
Number 17. Families collected rainwater in barrels and cisterns and used it specifically for washing hair. Tap water was for dishes, rainwater was for hair. That was the rule in homes across rural America. A wooden barrel at the corner of the house beneath the gutter downspout, water dipped out with a tin dipper, naturally soft, 0 calcium, 0 mineral buildup. No limescale coating each strand the way hard water does, wash after wash. Hair rinsed in rainwater, dried softer and lighter than anything that ever came out of city pipes. Women in Appalachia, the Ozarks, and the rural Midwest swore their hair was thickest during rainy springs. They were not imagining it. Hard water deposits calcium and magnesium on every strand. Rainwater deposits nothing. She did not buy purified water in a plastic jug. She waited for the sky to provide it. The rain barrel is gone from every American home. The hard water remains, but even the women who had no rain barrel knew something about their tap water that most people today have forgotten. Number 16. Women added a teaspoon of 20 Mule Team borax to their wash water to soften it before it touched their hair. Hard water leaves a film. The borax dissolved that film before the washing began. 20 Mule Team borax, the box with the Mule Team on the front, 15 cents in 1952. 1 teaspoon dissolved in a basin of warm water. The water felt slippery, almost silky between the fingers. Soap lathered twice as easily, hair rinsed clean without the chalky residue that hard water leaves behind. Women in limestone country in Indiana, Ohio, Central Texas treated this as essential, not optional. She understood the water mattered as much as the soap. That knowledge vanished when the shower head replaced the basin. Today, 85% of American homes have hard water. Nobody thinks about it. The hair pays for it every morning. And speaking of what she reached for instead of shampoo, the bar of soap on that saucer was doing something no liquid detergent has done since. Number 15. Before liquid shampoos took over in the late 1950s, most women washed their hair with bar soap, Castile soap, Ivory, olive oil bars. The soap cleaned without stripping, Kirk's Castile at 10 cents, Ivory at a nickel. Rubbed between the palms until a soft, creamy lather formed. worked into the scalp with the fingertips. The lather was thinner than modern shampoo, no mountain of suds. That foam is a detergent trick. It signals cleaning to the brain but adds nothing to the hair. The bar soap rinsed clean in 2 passes. Hair kept its natural oil coating intact. The faint smell of tallow and glycerin, not synthetic fragrance. The beauty industry spent 50 years teaching women that foam meant clean. A bar of soap that cost a nickel washed hair for a month? The profit margin was too small. That was its only flaw. But before the soap touched her hair, there was a step she never skipped, one that modern science is only now beginning to understand. Number 14. Women brush their hair thoroughly before every wash, often the full 100 strokes. This distributed the scalp's natural oils down the shaft and loosened dirt so the wash needed less soap and less scrubbing. A bore, bristle brush, wooden handle worn smooth. She pulled it from crown to ends in slow, deliberate strokes. Each pass moved sebum, the scalp's own protective oil, from root to tip. By the time she reached the basin, her hair was already half clean. Less soap meant less stripping meant less breakage. The quiet, rhythmic sound of bristles in a still room. She was not just brushing, she was preparing, the way a carpenter sands before he paints. Nobody teaches this anymore. We just pour and scrub and wonder why it breaks. And the water temperature she used was not an afterthought. There was a rule. Breaking it had consequences. Number 13. Women washed with lukewarm water and finished with the coldest water they could stand. Hot water weakened the cuticle. Cold water sealed it shut. Water heated on the stove and tested against the inside of the wrist. Warm enough to dissolve soap, not a degree hotter. Then the final rinse, cold water straight from the tap. The gasp when it hit the scalp. The way the hair felt different immediately. Smoother, tighter, like the strands had closed ranks. The cuticle laid flat by the cold, reflected light the way a polished floor reflects a window. Hot showers feel good, cold rinses work. She chose what worked. That discipline is the difference between hair that thins at 40 and hair that holds at 70. 5 items in and a pattern is already visible. Not one of these women was trying to be natural. She was not watching a tutorial. She was using what she had the way she was taught because it worked. The word natural was not a marketing category in 1954. It was just the way things were done. The marketing came later, when someone figured out how to charge money for a problem that did not yet exist. Number 12. Women did not just scrub their scalp during a wash. They massaged it. Circular motions with the fingertips, firm, steady pressure. Several minutes of focused attention on the scalp itself. 10 fingertips pressed in, small circles from hairline to crown to nape. Mothers taught daughters the same thing every time. Never scratch, always press. 2 full minutes before rinsing, the slight redness afterward, blood rising to the surface. The warm tingle that lasted an hour. Today there are electronic scalp massagers selling for $40. They vibrate, they pulse. They do less than her fingers did for free. She was not just washing her hair, she was feeding it from the inside with her own hands. And when the washing was done, what she did not do next matters as much as what she did. Number 11. Women blotted their hair dry with a towel. They did not rub. Rubbing wet hair roughs up the cuticle and causes breakage. Every mother knew this. A cotton towel, flour sack cotton, soft from 100 washings. Pressed gently around sections of hair, squeezed, not twisted. She patted the crown, pressed the ends, squeezed the length once, then wrapped the towel loosely while she dressed. No rough friction, no turban yanked tight. The hair was still damp when she sat down to set it. That was intentional. Damp hair holds a set, bone-dry hair does not. She treated wet hair the way she treated anything fragile, with care. That understanding disappeared the day the blow-dryer arrived. But the rinse that came between the wash and the towel, that was where the real secret lived, and it did not come from a bottle. Number 10. After every wash, women poured diluted apple cider vinegar through their hair as a final rinse. It removed soap residue, sealed the cuticle, restored the scalp's natural pH, and left hair shinier than anything on the market today. Heinz apple cider vinegar, 23 cents a bottle, 1 tablespoon in a cup of warm water, stirred in a mason jar, poured slowly over the hair while her free hand caught the runoff in a basin to pour through again. The sharp smell lasted 10 minutes and vanished. What remained was hair that reflected light like glass, no waxy buildup, no silicone film. The cuticle lay flat because vinegar is mildly acidic, the exact pH of healthy hair. That is chemistry practiced at the kitchen sink. A bottle lasted 6 months. It cost less than a loaf of bread. Nobody could patent vinegar. That was the problem. Vinegar handled the outside of the strand. But there was another rinse made from something on the kitchen windowsill that handled what was happening underneath at the root. Number 9. Women simmered rosemary in water, strained it, and poured it over the scalp as a final rinse. It was the standard remedy for thinning hair in households across America. A sprig from the garden or a jar from the spice rack, simmered 20 minutes, strained through cheesecloth, dark amber liquid with a fragrance between pine and camphor, poured over the scalp, massaged in, never rinsed out. A well-known 2015 clinical study found that rosemary oil performed similarly to a 2% concentration of minoxidil for hair regrowth after 6 months. Last year, rosemary water went viral on social media. Millions of young women filmed themselves pouring herb water on their hair as though they had just invented something. Their grandmothers were doing it in 1952. The rosemary grew in a clay pot on the windowsill. It cost nothing but sunlight. The industry now sells it for $28 an ounce. Number 8. Women separated egg yolks from the whites and used the yolks alone as shampoo. The yolk contains lecithin, a natural emulsifier that helps bind oil and dirt so they can be rinsed away. While the yolk is packed with nutrients, the proteins in an egg are actually too large to deeply bond with your hair's internal structure without chemical hydrolysis, but they can temporarily coat the strand, making it feel temporarily thicker. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. These women were not trying to grow their hair. They were not fighting thinning. Their hair was already thick. It had never been stripped by daily detergent washing, never scorched by flat irons at 200 degrees, never coated in silicone that sealed damage underneath a layer of artificial shine. These rituals did not repair damage, they prevented it from ever happening. That distinction is everything. Americans now spend over $48 billion a year on hair care. Most of it goes toward fixing problems that did not exist when the kitchen sink was the salon. Number 7. Women brewed dried stinging nettle leaves into a strong tea and poured it over the scalp after washing. Nettle was the standard folk remedy for thinning hair. Dried nettle from the pharmacy or gathered wearing gloves from a ditch bank in spring, steeped 15 minutes, strained, a dark green liquid with a grassy mineral smell, poured warm over the scalp, left in. The silica and iron strengthened the shaft. The improved circulation fed the follicle. Women who used it reported the same thing: less hair in the brush, more hair on the head. A box of dried nettle at the 5 and dime cost 15 cents. She did not have a dermatologist. She had a remedy her mother gave her. It worked. The hairbrush told her every morning nettle handled thinning, but there was another treatment for the opposite problem: hair gone dry and brittle from winter air or hard work. Number 6. The night before a wash, women heated castor oil on the stove, worked it into the scalp, and slept with a towel over the pillow. By morning, the oil had penetrated the shaft. The next day's wash removed the excess. Castor oil in the brown glass bottle, 20 cents, a tablespoon warmed in a saucepan until just above body temperature. Parted the hair in sections, applied with the fingertips directly to the scalp, massaged in circles. The heavy, viscous feel of castor oil between the fingers. An old towel over the pillowcase. By morning, the oil had bonded to the keratin. The wash removed the surface. The moisture stayed. That same oil now appears in $60 hair growth serums, diluted to a fraction of its strength. The ingredient did not change. The price did. Number 5. Once a month, women dissolved a tablespoon of Arm & Hammer baking soda in warm water and used it to strip all buildup from the hair. A reset wash, the orange box from the kitchen, a heaping tablespoon in a cup of warm water, poured through the hair, no lather, no foam, a slightly gritty feeling. The hair felt almost too clean afterward, stripped to its original state. She followed it immediately with the vinegar rinse to seal the cuticle, baking soda to strip, vinegar to seal. The most effective deep cleaning system any of them ever used. Under a penny per wash, one box of Arm & Hammer cleaned her hair, her oven, her teeth, and her sink. No woman in 1954 would have believed you would one day need a separate product for each. Number 4, women did not blow dry their hair. Handheld dryers existed in salons, but homes did not have one until the late 60s. Hair dried in the open air, and it was stronger because of it. Hair wrapped in a cotton towel for 10 minutes, then released, set on rollers while damp, or left to dry on the back porch with the Saturday Evening Post in her lap. No blast of 400-degree air, no cuticle scorched open, no split ends from thermal damage compounding week after week. The hair dried slowly, the cuticle closed on its own. Each strand kept its full moisture. Hair that had never been heat damaged bent without breaking. It had weight. The blow dryer arrived like a convenience. It stayed like an addiction. And it took something most women never noticed was gone, the natural thickness of hair that had never been cooked. Nearly every ritual on this list shares one principle. It is slow. The oil sat overnight. The rinse was poured twice. The hair dried in the air. There was no express lane. The modern hair care industry runs on speed. Wash faster, dry faster, style faster. But hair does not operate on a schedule. It grows slowly. It heals slowly. The women who understood that had the thickest hair in the room at every age. Number 3. Women dissolved unflavored Knox gelatin in warm water and poured it through freshly washed hair. Left it in, did not rinse. It coated each strand in a layer of animal collagen protein, giving the hair temporary structure. Knox gelatin in the red box, 10 cents a packet. 1 teaspoon dissolved in a cup of boiled water, poured through clean hair at the sink. The hair felt thicker, while still wet. By the time it dried, each strand carried a transparent protein shell. Less breakage, more body, a shine like glass. While modern salon treatments use chemically altered keratin to deeply rebuild hair bonds, this humble gelatin rinse offered a similar surface-level smoothing effect for pennies. She bought Knox at the A&P. Half the box made Jell-O for Sunday dinner. The other half went on her hair. Total cost, a dime. The gelatin coated the strand. But the women who had the thickest hair were doing something even more fundamental. It had nothing to do with any treatment. It had to do with how thoroughly they rinsed. Number 2, women did not rinse under a running shower. They caught the water in an enamel basin and poured it back through, a second time, sometimes a third, until every trace of soap was gone. A white enamel basin in the sink catching the runoff. The water poured back with a pitcher, slowly. The water ran clearer each pass. By the third pour, it was transparent. No residue, no film, no soap scum coating each strand. The hair floated in that final water, light and weightless. Modern women rinse 30 seconds under a shower and call it done. Soap residue builds invisibly, wash after wash. It dulls the hair. It suffocates the follicle. The basin method left nothing behind. She did not have hot water on demand, so she made every drop count. The limitation forced a thoroughness that abundance has completely destroyed. And now the one ritual that held all the others together. The practice that explains, more than anything else, why their hair stayed thick for decades, and ours does not. Number 1, women wash their hair once a week, some every 10 days, some every 2 weeks. That was considered normal. That was what the doctors recommended. And it is the single most important reason their hair was thicker than ours. Saturday morning, the one wash of the week, a bar of ivory at a nickel or a bottle of Prel at 35 cents. One lather worked through with the fingertips, one rinse, then the cold final pour. If the hair squeaked between the fingers, it was clean. No second lather, no repeat. The scalp, left alone for 7 days, regulated its own oil. Sebum, the body's own conditioner, had time to travel the full length of the strand. Hair washed once a week did not get greasier, it got smarter, it balanced itself. That oil protected each strand from breakage, from sun, from wind. Hair trained this way was thicker, stronger, and shinier than anything daily washing has ever produced. Then the shampoo companies figured something out. Their synthetic detergents stripped hair so aggressively that the scalp overproduced oil in a cycle that demanded more washing, more product, more spending. Rinse and repeat was never a hygiene instruction. It was a business model printed on the back of every bottle. The woman washing once a week was not behind the times. She was immune to the whole machine, and her hair proved it every day until she was 80 years old. And somewhere tonight, an old woman is leaning over a kitchen sink while her granddaughter pours warm water from a pitcher. The bar of soap sits on the saucer. The vinegar waits on the counter, and the lesson passes one last time from hand to hand.
That weekly ritual kept hair thick for a lifetime. But looking flawless was never only about what a woman washed or what she wore. The women who carried it best understood something the beauty counter never sold and the magazine never printed. It was not a product. It was not a treatment. It was the way she carried all of it.
Number 12, the girdle. And not for the reason you think. The girdle was not primarily about squeezing yourself smaller. It was a posture brace. It physically prevented slouching by holding the lower back and abdomen rigid. The Playtex Living Girdle cost $3.95 at Sears in 1956. It was made of latex rubber. It had a particular smell, something like a new rain boot mixed with talcum powder. Women dusted themselves with baby powder just to pull it on. The Sears Charm Mode line ran $2.98 for the budget version. Once that girdle was on, you could not round your spine if you tried. Your torso became a column. Every woman from your grandmother to the girl behind the Woolworth's lunch counter wore one. It was not vanity, it was architecture. Your mother put on her girdle the way a carpenter picks up a level, because the work does not hold without it. Number 11, the book on the head. Walking with a hardcover book balanced on the crown of your head was standard curriculum. Every home economics class and charm school in the country taught it through the 1950s. A Webster's Dictionary, a McCall's Cookbook, something with real weight. The Barbizon School of Modeling charged substantial tuition for its full charm and modeling courses. Meanwhile, many public high schools across America offered similar posture and deportment lessons for free within their home economics or physical education curricula. If the book fell, you started over. It trained the neck long, it trained the chin level, it trained the spine straight from skull to tailbone. No gadget, no equipment, just gravity and a book. A whole generation of women learned to carry themselves before they learned to type. That sequence said something about what mattered. Number 10, the stomach hold. Women were trained from girlhood to hold their stomach muscles pulled in at all times, not sucking in a sustained low-level contraction that became unconscious habit. Mothers taught it at the kitchen table the same way they taught please and thank you. Hold your stomach. Ladies' Home Journal ran columns on it. Good Housekeeping printed diagrams showing the difference between a relaxed abdomen and a held one. The trick was breathing into the ribs, not the belly. You could carry groceries, hang laundry, walk a mile to church, all with your core quietly engaged. No gym membership, no personal trainer, just a sentence your mother repeated until it became reflex. Today, the average gym membership runs over $50 a month. This cost nothing. It was invisible. And it worked better than anything sold in a bottle since. Number 9, the Duchess slant. Knees pressed together, both legs angled to one side, ankles crossed. This was the only acceptable way for a woman to sit in a skirt in polite company. Think about where this happened. Church pews on Sunday morning, PTA meetings on folding chairs, the front seat of a Chevrolet Bel Air on the way to a dinner party. You sat down, swept your skirt beneath you with one hand, pressed your knees together, and angled both legs to the left or right. Decades later, the media would popularize this exact posture as the Duchess slant. Ankles crossed, never apart, hands folded in the lap. The position pulled the thighs into a single tapered line. It added no width to the hips. From across the room, it took 5 years off your silhouette. It was not restriction, it was control. And in that era, control was the only power most women had. So they made it look effortless. Number 8, the structured bra. The bullet bra and the long line bra did not just support. They projected the bust forward and lifted the rib cage. They physically pulled the shoulders back and created an upright carriage. Maiden Form ran their famous I Dreamed campaign from 1949 straight through the 60s. The exquisite form, number 665, was cone-stitched cotton, about $2.50. It was in every JCPenney catalog in the country. The long line version extended down to the waist with boning at the sides. Warner's Merry Widow launched in 1952, named after the famous operetta and popularized heavily on screen and in print. It combined bra, waist cincher, and garter belt in a single piece. You did not just put on a bra, you put on a posture. The garment did the remembering for you. It held you upright even when you were tired, even when the day had been long, even when nobody was watching. Number 7, the heel-toe walk. Women were taught a specific gait. Heel strikes first, toe rolls forward, weight transfers in a straight line. Not a strut, a controlled, smooth, narrow track walk. Kitten heels, 1.5 inch on department store terrazzo. The sound was a clean click, evenly spaced, no shuffling. Charm school instructors at John Robert Powers had students walk a painted line on the floor, one foot directly in front of the other, like a tightrope. This narrowed the hips in motion. It created a fluid, almost gliding movement. You heard a woman before you saw her, and when you saw her, she looked 10 pounds lighter than she was, because nothing was bouncing, swaying, or shifting off center. That walk said everything without speaking. It said, I know exactly where I'm going. Now let me stop the count for a moment. Here is what none of this was called at the time. It was not called body positivity. It was not called self-care. It was not any phrase that needs a hashtag to survive. It was just called carrying yourself well. It was taught the same way you learn to shake hands or set a table. As a basic human skill, not a luxury, not a trend, a skill. Somewhere along the way, the word discipline became something women were told to resist instead of something they could own. But the women who practiced these things every morning were not performing for anyone. They were choosing how they showed up in the world. There is a difference. Number 6, the cinch belt. A wide belt, 2 to 4 inches, buckled at the narrowest point of the waist. It physically compressed the midsection and created an hourglass over any dress. Elastic cinch belts ran $1.49 to $2.98 in the Sears catalog. Patent leather, fabric covered, or simple elastic with a metal clasp, worn over shirtwaist dresses, over cardigans, even over house dresses. The trick was placement, not at the navel, but 2 inches above it, at the true waist, right where the ribs end. This shortened the torso visually and lengthened the leg line. It created a waist even on a straight, figured woman. The snap of that metal clasp biting into elastic was the sound of getting dressed for somewhere that mattered. $1.49. That is what it cost to change your entire shape. No prescription, no membership, a belt and a mirror. Number 5, the slip. The full slip worn between girdle and dress smoothed every line. It eliminated cling and created a single unbroken drape from shoulder to knee. Nylon tricot or rayon satin, Vanity Fair and Barbizon were the name brands, $2.98 to $5.95 at any department store counter. The fabric was cool against the skin, slippery enough that the outer dress hung from the body without grabbing anything underneath. No panty line, no bra strap ridge, no girdle edge showing through. A woman could be wearing 4 separate garments beneath her dress, and the dress looked like it was floating on air. That was the craft. The slip was the secret between a woman and her mirror. Nobody knew it was there. that was exactly the point. Number 4, the shoulder blade squeeze. Pull the shoulder blades together and slightly down. That was it. A quick physical reset that opened the chest, lengthened the neck, and flattened the upper back. Mothers said it different ways. Pretend there is a pencil between your shoulder blades and squeeze it. Or simply, show me your collarbone. Some women did this every time they walked through a doorway. A silent cue, a built-in trigger. No equipment, no mirror. The effect was instant. The bust lifted, the belly flattened. The chin came forward into alignment. McCall's magazine in 1954 called it the 2-second trick that changes your whole line. 2 seconds, a doorway, a habit handed down from a mother who never read a fitness magazine in her life. That was the whole system. Number 3, the chin parallel to the floor. Never tipped up, that looked arrogant. Never dropped down, that looked defeated. Level, always level. Charm school instructors used a simple test. Look straight ahead at a point on the far wall at your exact eye height. If you can see the ceiling, your chin is too high. If you can see the floor, it is too low. The parallel chin elongated the neck by a full inch visually. It erased the appearance of a double chin without losing a single pound. Look at photographs from the era, church directories, high school portraits, department store catalogs. The chin line is level in nearly every single one. That was not accidental, that was trained. A level chin said something that words never could. I am not looking up to anyone, and I am not looking down. Number 2, the princess seam. Dresses in the 1950s were constructed with internal architecture. Princess seams, darted bodices, boned waistlines, interface fabrics. They sculpted the silhouette independent of the body underneath. A Simplicity or McCall's dress pattern cost 35 cents. It came with 8 to 12 individual pieces, each one shaped to a curve. Princess seams ran from shoulder to hem without a single horizontal waist seam. They created a continuous vertical line that slimmed by sheer geometry. Darts at the bust and waist took in fabric at precise angles. Many women sewed their own. The Singer sewing machine ran the house after dinner. You could hear the rhythmic thump of the foot pedal from the next room. A dress made from 79 cents a yard cotton, sewn at the kitchen table, could make a woman look like she walked out of a fitting room on Fifth Avenue. Because the engineering was in the seams, not in the price tag. Today, fewer than 5% of Americans can sew a garment from a pattern. That sewing machine was not a hobby, it was the most powerful tool in the house. A woman who could sew could decide what she looked like, and she answered to nobody. Number 1, the mirror. A full-length door mirror from Sears, $4.95, hung with 2 screws on the back of a bedroom door. The glass was not perfect, sometimes slightly warped at the edges. The light was whatever the bedroom had. A ceiling fixture, maybe a window with the curtains pulled back. She stood straight, turned to the side, checked the line from shoulder to hip to knee, smoothed the slip, tugged the belt, squeezed her shoulder blades one last time. The whole inspection took less than 30 seconds. But it was every single day. It was the last thing before the front door opened. It was the moment where every discipline on this list became one deliberate shape. And she decided that shape was ready. She was not looking for perfection, she was looking for alignment between how she felt inside and how the world would see her walk through that door. That $4 mirror was not about authorship. Every morning she wrote her own silhouette with nothing but practice and a little glass on 2 screws. And she did not need anyone's permission to do it.
Posture was the invisible frame that held the whole picture together, but the care did not stop at what the world could see. Some of the most effective rituals in this system happened in private, cost almost nothing, and targeted the one feature a woman showed every single time she smiled. Number 15. A woman mixed a tablespoon of Arm & Hammer baking soda with a capful of hydrogen peroxide from the brown bottle in the medicine cabinet. She stirred it into a gritty paste on a saucer and brushed with it once a week. The mixture bubbled and fizzed the moment the two ingredients touched. The paste tasted like chalk and tin. She spread it across the bristles of a nylon toothbrush and scrubbed for 2 minutes. Baking soda acted as a gentle abrasive to buff away surface stains. Peroxide chemically whitened the enamel underneath. A box of Arm & Hammer cost a dime. A bottle of peroxide cost 15 cents. Together they lasted months. Total cost per brushing, a fraction of a penny. The whitening industry now sells this exact combination in a plastic syringe for $39 and calls it a breakthrough. She made it on a saucer with a butter knife. She did not need the packaging. She needed the paste. That paste was the heavyweight. But most nights she did not even bother mixing anything. She reached for something simpler, something her children peeled at the kitchen table after school and tossed in the trash without a second thought. Number 14. She rubbed the white inner side of a fresh orange peel directly across her teeth for 2 or 3 minutes, then rinsed thoroughly with water. Unlike the acidic flesh of the fruit, the white pith contains D-limonene, a natural stain remover that helped polish her smile without the high acid content. The inside of the rind, the white pith, was the part that worked, slightly gritty, faintly sweet. The oils left her fingertips smelling like citrus for an hour. She held the peel between her thumb and forefinger and rubbed it along the front teeth in small circles. The mild citric acid lifted stains from the enamel surface. Nothing was wasted in that house, not the peel, not the rind, not the knowledge that something free could do what something expensive only claimed to. The orange cost 3 cents. The smile was the change. She used the scraps from the fruit bowl. But there was something else in the kitchen, something in a glass bowl on the counter that she ate almost every day, and it was cleaning her teeth without her even knowing it. Number 13. She ate a raw apple every day. Not for her teeth, for everything. But that apple was quietly scrubbing the stains off her enamel with every single bite. A wine sap or a Macintosh from the barrel at the market. 2 cents apiece in season. The firm flesh acted as a natural abrasive against the tooth surface. The crunch, the snap of the skin breaking, the flood of juice across the gums. Apples contain malic acid. That same compound is now extracted and sold in whitening serums for $35 an ounce. Saliva production spiked with every bite, and saliva is the mouth's own rinse cycle. She did not call it oral care. She called it lunch. An apple, a wedge of cheddar, and a glass of water at the kitchen table. That was not a whitening routine. That was a Tuesday in 1954. It worked better than a $40 strip stuck to your teeth in the dark. That apple came from the kitchen. But the next secret came from the same room. Not the fruit bowl, the pantry shelf, a brown glass jug that sat behind the flour tin and smelled like something no child would drink willingly. Number 12. A highly diluted splash of apple cider vinegar was occasionally used as an old-school rinse, followed immediately by a thorough flushing of plain water to protect the teeth. While its acetic acid targeted bacteria, women had to be incredibly careful not to overdo it. The brown jug of Heinz, or a local farm brand, sat in the pantry next to the molasses and the vanilla extract. The smell was sharp enough to water your eyes. She poured a capful, swished it like mouthwash, and spat into the sink. Then she rinsed with plain water. The acetic acid dissolved stains and killed bacteria. Cost per use, less than half a cent. That jug cleaned the sink. It cleared a sore throat. It kept the drain from clogging. And once a week, it cleaned her teeth. 1 bottle, 14 uses. Not one of them required a brand name or a dentist's note. The jug did not come with instructions for any of this. She already knew. That was the point. That jug belonged to the pantry, but the next item belonged to the living room, specifically the television set. If you were alive in 1956, you already know the jingle. You just forgot where you learned it. Number 11. Ipana toothpaste, the flat white tube with red lettering. Manufactured by Bristol-Myers. Wintergreen flavor. A tube cost around 39 cents. In the 50s, Ipana used a cartoon mascot created by Disney animators named Bucky Beaver. He was voiced by Mouseketeer Jimmy Dodd, who also wrote and composed the famous jingle. That beaver appeared on Saturday morning cartoons and evening broadcasts from coast to coast. Bristol-Myers filled the pages of Better Homes and Gardens, True Stories, and McCall's with monthly ads. Bucky became a household name from 1955 through the early 70s. Every mother in the country knew the tube. Every child knew the beaver. The children brushed because a cartoon told them to. The mother brushed because her mother told her to. Both methods worked. Only one cost a marketing budget. Ipana had its cartoon beaver. But the next toothpaste had something stranger. A secret ingredient that did not exist. A word invented by an advertising man that fooled an entire country for decades. And it cleaned teeth anyway. Number 10. Pepsodent, introduced in 1915 by the Pepsodent Company of Chicago. The tube was red and white. The taste was minty and warm from the sassafras. The famous slogan promised you would wonder where the yellow went when you brushed your teeth with Pepsodent. The company claimed it contained a miracle ingredient called irium. In reality, irium was simply a clever trademarked name for sodium lauryl sulfate, a common foaming agent found in nearly everything. Pepsodent also promoted something it called IMP, a supposed whitening compound. It sponsored Bob Hope's radio show on NBC for nearly 10 years. A paste that advertised an ingredient that never existed outsold everything in America for 3 decades. The teeth got white anyway. The secret was never irium. The secret was that people brushed every single day. Twice. Without being reminded by an app. Without a subscription delivering replacement heads to the door. A tube, a brush, and a habit installed in childhood that nobody needed to sell them twice. 10 items in, and look at what has appeared so far. An orange peel, an apple, a jug of vinegar, 2 tubes of toothpaste that cost less than a pack of gum. Not one of these required electricity, a prescription, or an appointment. Every single one was already inside the house. The 20th century did not discover teeth whitening. It discovered how to charge for it. And the generation that came before the charge had better teeth than the generation that came after. Number 9. She walked to the herb garden, picked a fresh sage leaf, and rubbed it directly across her teeth. That was the entire process. The gray-green leaf had a velvety texture, and the taste was slightly bitter and earthy on the tongue. Since medieval times, people used sage to whiten their teeth and strengthen the gums. Many toothpastes on the shelf today are still based on sage extract. Without the tube, a fresh leaf does the same work. The essential oils have astringent properties that tighten gums and reduce inflammation. A sage plant cost nothing once it was in the ground. It came back every spring without asking. A woman who grew sage was not buying whitening strips. She was growing them. 16 inches from the back door, next to the thyme and the parsley. The garden had no aisle, no checkout lane, just what she needed. When she needed it, the sage came from the garden. But the next secret came from the kitchen sink, from the leftover rind of something she had already squeezed into the iced tea. Number 8. After squeezing a lemon for cooking or lemonade, She rubbed the white pith of the rind across her teeth. She let it sit for 1 minute, then rinsed. The sharp citrus scent filled the bathroom. The slight pucker at the gum line, not the yellow zest, the soft white pith underneath. After squeezing a lemon for cooking, some women use the leftover rind as a quick polish, though modern dentists warn that the intense acidity of lemons can severely strip your enamel if left to sit. A lemon cost 2 cents. She had already used it for the pie or the fish. The rind was a bonus. She used the juice for cooking, the zest for flavor, the rind for her teeth. Then the rest went into the disposal. Nothing in that lemon went to waste. That was not frugality. That was architecture. Every part of everything had a second purpose, and she knew them all. That lemon belonged to the kitchen. But the next item came from the bathroom shelf. A small turquoise tin with a metal lid that predated toothpaste itself. If you are under 50, you have probably never seen one. Number 7. Dr. Leon's Tooth Powder. Established in 1866 by a practicing dentist in New Jersey. Before toothpaste came in tubes, American families used tooth powder. A dry, fine-grained powder shaken onto a wet toothbrush. The turquoise tin with navy blue lettering had a small metal cap that unscrewed to reveal a sifter top. Inside was a careful blend of sodium bicarbonate, calcium carbonate, and powdered cuttlebone. The label promised no drugs, no grit, no pumice, no acid, and no harmful ingredients. Finer than baking soda. It tasted clean and faintly chalky. A tin cost about 25 cents and lasted for months. By 1949, toothpaste had captured 75% of the American market. The tin vanished from shelves. The tube replaced it. The tube cost more, performed no better, and needed a redesign every 2 years to keep selling. That tin just sat on the shelf. Same shape, same job, year after year. No rebrand, no limited edition, no influencer holding it up to a ring light. The tooth powder came in a tin, but the next method came in nothing at all. It arrived from the garden in June and stained her fingertips red. Number 6. She mashed a ripe strawberry with a fork, rubbed the pulp across her teeth with her finger, let it sit for 2 minutes, and rinsed. June berries from the backyard patch. The small ones, not the oversized greenhouse variety. Crushed in a saucer with the back of a fork. Seeds and all. The sweet tart taste on the gums. The pink stain on the porcelain sink. Strawberries contain malic acid, a natural enzyme with whitening properties. It dissolves surface discoloration and triggers extra saliva production. She rinsed and followed with regular toothpaste. Cost nothing. The berries grew beside the fence. The modern beauty industry sells fruit enzyme whitening serums for $35 an ounce. The active ingredient is the same malic acid that sat in a bowl of June strawberries on a kitchen counter 70 years ago. She was not behind the science. She was the source. 6 items remain, and every single one of them costs less than a nickel. What you are looking at is not a list of whitening tricks. It is a record of a time when Americans solved their own problems. They did not wait for a product launch. They did not scroll through an article. They opened the cupboard, the medicine chest, or the spice rack and made something work. That instinct did not die of old age. It was sold out from underneath them. Number 5. She uncapped the brown bottle of hydrogen peroxide from the medicine cabinet and swished a diluted capful for 60 seconds. The dark brown glass with the white label. Every medicine cabinet in America had one. 15 cents at the drugstore. She poured a capful, mixed it with equal parts water from the tap, swished it like mouthwash, and spat. The foaming on the gums. The faint metallic taste. That fizz was the peroxide doing its work. Hydrogen peroxide is a natural bleaching agent that kills bacteria on contact. The same compound that sat in her medicine cabinet for 15 cents is the active ingredient in every professional whitening treatment sold today. Every strip, every custom tray, every $500 in-office procedure. She had the ingredient. She just did not have the invoice. The bottle also cleaned cuts on a child's knee, disinfected the cutting board, and lightened the grout between the bathroom tiles. One brown bottle, one shelf. More uses than she ever bothered to count. That peroxide came from the drugstore, but the next one came from a place nobody thinks to look. The spice rack above the stove, behind the cinnamon and the nutmeg. A small tin most people only reached for at Thanksgiving. Number 4. She mixed a pinch of cream of tartar with a few drops of lemon juice into a thin paste and brushed with it once a week. Potassium bitartrate. It was a fine white powder, a byproduct of winemaking, sold in small tins on the spice shelf. The same ingredient she used to stabilize meringue for the Christmas pie. Mixed with a squeeze of lemon, it formed a mildly abrasive, faintly acidic paste. The taste was sour and chalky. A tin cost 10 cents and lasted a full year. She applied it on a soft brush once a week, then rinsed clean. Cream of tartar made the pie filling set. It made the snickerdoodles crackle on top. And once a week, it polished the coffee stains right off her teeth. 1 tin, 3 uses. No label claiming to change her life. It just did its job and went back on the shelf. She did not need to understand the chemistry. She just needed to know it worked. And she did, because her mother had told her, and her mother's mother before that. That spice rack held a secret. But the next secret did not come from any shelf at all. It came from the kitchen table, from a round blue container with a girl holding an umbrella. And it did not cost a dime. It cost nothing. Number 3. She wet her finger, pressed it into the salt, and rubbed it across her teeth. Or she dissolved a spoonful in warm water and swished. Morton's salt, the round blue canister with the girl in the yellow dress. Already in every kitchen in America. Already paid for. She dampened her index finger, pressed it into the coarse crystals, and scrubbed each tooth in small circles. The grit. The sharp, clean bite on the gums. Then a warm water rinse. Salt is a mild abrasive and a natural antiseptic. It pulled moisture from bacteria and left the mouth cleaner than it found it. Cost per use, nothing. The salt was already there. Salt preserved the meat. Salt drew moisture from the cucumbers for canning. Salt melted ice on the front step in January. And salt kept her teeth white for 60 years. One ingredient, 500 uses, no subscription required. That salt sat next to one thing on the kitchen shelf, the same thing found in every American home from 1920 to 1970. A yellow box with a red circle and a flexed arm. If you grew up in that house, you already know what it is. Number 2. A wet toothbrush dipped directly into the open box of Arm & Hammer baking soda. Brushed for 2 minutes. Rinsed. Done. The yellow box with the flexed arm logo. Church & Dwight, founded in 1846. Baking soda has been cleaning American teeth for over 100 years. A half-pound box cost 8 to 10 cents. It sat on the counter next to the stove. She dipped the damp bristles right into the open box. The faintly salty, slightly chalky taste. No mint, no flavor, just clean. The gentle abrasive power scrubs away surface stains and reveals brighter enamel underneath. It also neutralizes the acids in the mouth that break down tooth structure over time. That box cleaned her teeth. It deodorized the icebox. It scrubbed the sink. It smothered a grease fire. It soothed a bee sting on a child's arm. 10 cents. It did the work of 10 products that had not been invented yet. Today, the dental aisle carries 47 toothpaste options. She had one yellow box, and her teeth were whiter than yours. Nobody told her that was remarkable. In that house, it was just Tuesday morning before breakfast. That yellow box was the king of the kitchen shelf. But there is one more. And it is the one that will stop you cold. It cost nothing. It came from no store. It required no recipe. And it vanished so completely from American life that almost no one alive today has ever tried it. It came from the fireplace. And what she did with it sounds impossible. Number 1. She dipped a damp cloth into the cooled white ash from the fireplace, rubbed it across her teeth, and rinsed. Hardwood ash from oak, maple or hickory, cooled in the firebox overnight, fine and powdery, almost silky between the fingers. She scooped a pinch with a damp rag, rubbed it gently across her front teeth, and rinsed with a cup of water from the kitchen. Wood ash contains potassium carbonate, which creates a highly alkaline environment that chemically lifted organic stains. The taste was faintly metallic and faintly alkaline, and gone in seconds. It cost absolutely nothing. The fire had already been lit for warmth or for cooking. The ash was already sitting in the hearth. Ancient Egyptians used it. Native Americans used it. Hippocrates himself recommended it. One woman remembered her childhood, how the family gathered soot from the wood-burning fireplace because store-bought powder was far too expensive for a large family. They used the soot, and their teeth were white. The fire warmed the house. The ash whitened the teeth. Nothing was bought. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was marketed. A woman knelt at the hearth, touched her finger to the ash, and solved a problem that an $11 billion industry still pretends is complicated. It was never complicated. It was just forgotten. And forgetting it was not an accident. It was a business plan. A bright smile for less than the cost of a stick of gum. But the final piece of this system did not happen at the vanity or the kitchen table or the bathroom sink. It happened after the lights went out, in the quietest hours of the house, when no one was watching at all.
Number 10. Women train themselves to sleep flat on their backs, hands at their sides or folded across the stomach. Mothers taught daughters this position as young as 8 or 9 years old. It was considered part of good posture, not vanity. A firm mattress. Simmons Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic, $59.50 for a full size in 1955. No pillow top, cotton ticking stretched over inner spring coils. The mattress did not cradle the face. A single flat pillow, often filled with cotton batting or feathers from a Sears catalog order. $1.98, the coolness of starched cotton against the back of the neck, the discipline of lying still, a mother's voice from the doorway. On your back. Ladies do not sleep on their stomachs. This was not about beauty products. It was about carrying yourself with intention, even in sleep. Modern dermatology now identifies side sleeping as a major cause of sleep lines, a specific type of asymmetric facial wrinkle. A 2016 study in the Aesthetic Surgery Journal confirmed that sustained facial compression against a pillow exerts mechanical forces that accelerate these lines. These women knew that 60 years before the study was published. They just called it sleeping properly. But sleeping on your back only worked if you stayed on your back, and that required something most bedrooms today do not have. Number 9. Women placed firm bolster pillows or rolled towels along both sides of their body to prevent rolling onto the face during sleep. A physical guardrail system built from whatever was in the linen closet. A cylindrical bolster, often homemade, a bath towel rolled tight and pinned with safety pins, or a flour sack tube stuffed with cotton scraps. Department stores sold decorative bolsters at Woolworths for $1.49. Placed snug against the hip and shoulder on each side. the feeling of being held in position without being restrained. Some women tucked a folded hand towel under the chin to prevent the head from turning, the small ritual of arranging the bed each night like setting a table for one. She built a system out of towels and common sense. No $89 anti-wrinkle sleep pillow from an Instagram advertisement. The engineering was invisible, it cost nothing, and it worked every single night. The position protected the skin. But what she put on her face before lying down was the other half of the equation. Number 8, women applied a thick layer of cold cream before bed, slept in it all night, and wiped it off with a soft cloth in the morning. The cream acted as a moisture barrier while they slept. Pond's cold cream in the green, lidded glass jar, 39 cents in 1952. The cool, thick texture, part mineral oil, part beeswax, part borax, scooped with 2 fingers, spread across the forehead, cheeks, chin, and throat in small circles. The faint rose fragrance, the shine on her face in the vanity mirror, the greasy ring left on the pillowcase. Every woman's pillowcase had those faint yellow circles. A soft washcloth wrung in warm water in the morning. Skin underneath, pink and plump like she had slept in a greenhouse. That jar sat on the vanity for 30 years. Same formula, same price. The overnight moisture treatment the beauty industry now sells for $65 under the name Sleeping Mask is the same principle Pond's offered for pocket change. The jar did not need rebranding. It needed to be forgotten so something expensive could take its place. The cream protected the skin, but the fabric touching her face mattered just as much. And what most women slept on would surprise you. Number 7. Women who could not afford silk used satin pillowcases to reduce friction against the face and hair while sleeping. Cotton pulls and creases the skin. Satin lets the face glide. Satin yardage from the fabric counter at JCPenney or the 5 and dime, 40 cents a yard. A woman could sew a pillowcase in 20 minutes on a Singer treadle machine. The cool slip of the fabric against her cheek. The way the face did not stick or drag when she turned her head. Some women ironed them smooth every wash day. The faint sheen catching lamplight on the bed. Real silk was a luxury, a Saks Fifth Avenue indulgence. But rayon satin did the same job for a fraction of the cost, and every woman on the block knew it. The silk pillowcase is now sold as a prestige beauty product at $40 to $90. She made hers from remnants in the sewing basket. The knowledge was free. The fabric cost less than $1. The result was identical. She protected the skin from friction on the outside. But there was another position that addressed something harder to fight: gravity itself. Number 6. Some women slept with the head of the bed slightly elevated. Not propped upright, just a gentle 2 to 3 inch rise. It reduced puffiness and under-eye swelling by morning. A folded wool army blanket wedged between the mattress and the box spring at the head. Or a second feather pillow, thin and flat, stacked under the first. The angle was barely noticeable, just enough to feel the head resting slightly above the chest. Women who had their hair in pin curls or rollers used this method for double duty. The incline kept the curls from being crushed and kept fluid from pooling around the eyes overnight. The morning face, no puffiness, no crease lines, eyes clear and rested. Dermatologists now recommend sleeping at an incline to reduce facial edema and under-eye bags. They recommend a $120 wedge pillow sold on Amazon. She used a folded blanket that was already in the linen closet. 5 positions in and notice what they all share. Not